Hey guys, Ben here. Last time I did a Godzilla vs. Kong prediction video, it did pretty well actually, really well compared to some of my other videos. But I'm doing this not to get more views, but this is kind of a follow-up because the last time I did a prediction video, we already had some initial theories and some information, and we got a lot more information, and so it kind of makes me change some of my theories, or it makes me definite on certain theories. So to start off, Godzilla vs. Kong has been officially pushed back to the fall of 2020 when it was supposed to be the spring of 2020, which means we're going to get a trailer any time now. So, that's okay, I guess. I honestly would have thought that a summer blockbuster would have been good around this time, but the thing that's kind of making them change the dates is one, production, two, reshoots, which follows me into my next point. The coronavirus. Because of the coronavirus, Hollywood is basically afraid that no one in China is going to go to the theaters, which they probably won't because they're trying to contain the coronavirus. And because of this, they're pushing back movies to farther dates, which is kind of bad news for Godzilla vs. Kong because James Bond's newest movie has been pushed to the fall, which means that both movies are going to be competing. And that basically means Godzilla vs. Kong is going to have even less of a chance of really making a lot of money because the thing about King of the Monsters was it didn't make a lot of money because Endgame came out, which I think I had mentioned in my previous video. But the thing about this is, in an official statement type thing, the executives or director, some big head honcho at Warner Brothers or Legendary, basically stated that this movie is going to decide the fate of Legendary's MonsterVerse. So if this movie makes enough money, it proves that people are interested enough to make more movies. So we'll get more Godzilla movies, more Kong movies, maybe even things like Gamera or other giant kaiju. Hell, if they got Ultraman, I would be so happy. But yeah, because of that, they said that this movie has been written in a way that will close the series off, but will leave it open enough so that if they do make enough money, they can make more. But if they don't, then this ends as a pretty good ending. It's kind of like if Endgame was the final say on Marvel. Endgame would have been the perfect ending to the MCU. But it was open enough to continue making more movies. Except Endgame's whole premise wasn't exactly that. But this is basically what's going on right now with that. Last I think I spoke about this, Hong Kong was going to be the main premise and setting, but due to the coronavirus and the Hong Kong riots mainly, I have a feeling that they're reshooting, I have a feeling, or maybe redoing things. I have a feeling Hong Kong is not going to be a big point in the movie because of what's been going on lately. So either they're refilming it to Japan, because there's some pictures I've seen on Twitter from the studios, some behind the scenes pictures that have Japanese names on streets and stuff, or there's a tunnel, kind of like the Mudo, sorry, kind of like the Monarch Tunnel in King of the Monsters. There's something along those lines that has a Japanese name on it, so it could either just be it's named after a Japanese founder of Monarch, or it could mean that we're actually going to take place in Japan, which would be fantastic if we got to actually go to Tokyo in one of these American Godzilla movies. The other thing is, the Godzilla vs. Kong thing, I think I said this in the previous one. I'm going to basically probably repeat a lot of what I said in the previous one, but I'm just adding a few new things that I kind of, found recently. So my theory originally, and I think that I'm going to actually stick with it even more now, is King Mecha King Ghidorah was going to come back. And I think I can say wholeheartedly that if this movie was going to be possibly the last one, and it's set up like it could be the last one, but it could also continue, Mecha King Ghidorah is going to definitely show up. That is, in my opinion, is that Mecha King Ghidorah is definitely going to show up. That's my prediction. Because obviously we're going to have a third-party monster that's going to show up and interrupt Godzilla vs. Kong fight, and I have a feeling it's Mecha King Ghidorah, and Godzilla Kong are probably going to have to team up and fight him. And I'm going to make a prediction right now. Godzilla is the king right now, and Kong possibly has some kaiju followers as well. Possibly, I'm going to make a theory here, maybe all the kaiju that we've heard of or seen before in the background and stuff, maybe they're going to come back. We're going to have a humongous kaiju war on our hands, which would be fantastic. I don't know if I mentioned this, but rewatching the movie, the newspaper clipping at the end of the movie mentions something about a second Mothra egg being found, which means Mothra's probably going to be coming back. So either we could get a Mothra spin-off film in the future, which would be really cool, or even cooler, we could have Mothra hatch in this, and we get some Mothra fighting action to help the heroes and stuff. But yeah, that's basically my big theory, is that Mecha King Ghidorah is definitely going to be showing up in this movie. I think Mecha Godzilla has a decent chance at showing up, but I don't think that it's 100% confirmed. It's like, I think Mecha King Ghidorah versus Godzilla and Kong and possibly Mothra is enough for this movie. I don't want it to be too much, like too overwhelming. We finally have an official title in the Godzilla vs. Kong. All this stuff I'm just gonna say I'm getting from Twitter that I had seen recently, because I'm like following the Godzilla vs. Kong Twitter account, whether that's official or not. They do post a lot about this stuff, and I'm gonna show you pictures about certain things I'm talking about if I remember to do so, which hopefully I will. But there were some test screenings reportedly, and supposedly the viewers of these test screenings had said this movie is under 2 hours long and it has a lot of positive feedback, which is fantastic. That's phenomenal. I'm kind of getting really tired of a lot of movies having to pass the 2 hour mark ever since like big Marvel movies came out. I feel like a lot of movies, like King of the Monsters, I like Godzilla King of the Monsters, but I feel like it's too long. And if I remember correctly, it's about 2 hours long at least. I think it's maybe 2.5. But a lot of movies are just like trying to be the big cinematic blockbusters, and I feel like they're trying to be too epic. So because of that, the movie just feels like it drags on, or it just feels like it's too long. So I'm kind of glad that this movie's going to be under 2 hours, because I think 2 hours is a generous time at this point. But I think that like anything over 2 hours is kind of pushing it, unless you have a reason to be over 2 hours long. Like none of the superhero movies from DC should be over 2 hours long. It's long, it's boring, it's drab, yada yada, usual DC hate boy right here. But something like Lord of the Rings or even Star Wars, I can understand that being over 2 hours long, because those are like epics, those are big sagas, they have a overarching storyline. But something like a kaiju movie shouldn't be too long. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But yeah, I think that I think Mecha King Ghidorah is going to show up. I think that Godzilla vs. Kong, they're definitely going to be fighting. I doubt that I still stand by what I said earlier, which is they are not going to kill each other. They are not. This is not going to be the final movie. It's going to end in a way that it could be the final movie, but they're not going to kill each other. There's not going to be a definite winner. There's definitely going to be a third-party monster. Who that is, I don't know, but my prediction is Mecha King Ghidorah. There's a good chance Mecha Godzilla could show up because of the previous statements. I haven't checked if Legendary has purchased the rights to any monsters from Toho, which if they did, that would mean that we could have a good chance of getting more Toho monsters like Anguirus or like Gigan, Megalon, Biolante. Like, I've seen a lot of people want Destroya or Biolante in this movie, and while I could see that happening because of the like I could see Destroya happening, because in King of the Monsters, they use the Oxygen Destroyer against Godzilla, which doesn't, well, it does work against him, but it doesn't work against Ghidorah. And Destroya is born from the Oxygen Destroyer, so I could see Destroya showing up, but I don't think they'll do that. I feel like that's something they could save for a later point, because they've already set up Mecha King Ghidorah. I feel like they wouldn't want to wait too long to play that card. And I have heard some people say they want to see Biolante, or that there's theories Biolante could be in it, which again, it could happen because of things that have happened in the previous movies that allude towards certain monsters possibly showing up. Like, basically the entire credits of King of the Monsters sets up tons of possible movie monsters and like movie tie-ins and stuff like that, but we probably won't be able to we won't be seeing those very soon. It'll probably be a tad bit of a while before we get to see that stuff. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm sure you can. I'm just kind of doing this off script because I was looking at the new news and I was like, you know what? I'm uploading again on YouTube because I have some free time now, and I kind of missed doing this. And Godzilla vs. Kong, I'm very hyped because I love Godzilla. So any day now we should be getting at least a teaser trailer. Hell, even a poster would be nice. Like, we should be getting something at this point. I'm expecting an official trailer probably somewhere in the summer as it gets closer to the fall. Another movie that just came to mind that's coming out in the fall is Venom 2 specifically, and I don't think Venom 2 is going to be much of a threat when it comes, like, compared to Godzilla or James Bond. I feel like James Bond is a bigger threat. Well, James Bond isn't something like Marvel or Star Wars, where honestly I'm kind of glad that they pushed Godzilla vs. Kong, because I was afraid they were going to release it around the time that like episode 9 came out, which it sounded like they were, and whether they pushed it because of that or they pushed it because of the Hong Kong thing or whatever, I'm glad they did, because this year we're not getting any Star Wars movies, so that means that we can be, we can be, what's the word, we don't have to be afraid about possible, like, box office stealing, basically. um James Bond, however, is still a threat, I think, especially since it's coming out around the same time. Venom 2, don't think so. There's no Marvel movies, as I know of, that are going to be coming out around that time, and even if there are, I don't think they're going to be as big as Endgame, I think Endgame is really the main reason why King of the Monsters didn't do as well as I hoped it did. I'm not saying that Endgame's a bad movie or anything like that, but I just think, like, it's like, I love Endgame. I love the Marvel movies. I just want to go ahead and say that. It's just so it doesn't sound like I'm just bashing them just because they did better than one of my favorite movies of all time, or one of my favorite movie monsters of all time, I should say. I'm just saying that box office wise, Endgame is humongous. Endgame was like probably one of the biggest cinematic Hollywood things in a very long time. So it's kind of like if they released Godzilla around the time that Lord of the Rings came out. I don't think Godzilla would have done as well, and it really didn't. So I'm hoping that this movie's going to be good. I heard some reports on Twitter about like I heard something along the lines of they're cutting away the stupid humor. I heard a lot of people say there were a lot of like rumors and fake type of leaks and stuff that people were talking about, where it was like, oh yeah, they're going to have more stupid humor, which of course scared a lot of people, including of course me. But I have heard other reports that there isn't, and to be honest, stupid humor doesn't mean that the movie's not going to do well. Transformers is literally full of stupid humor, and those movies do magnificently, ridiculously well. So I'm not afraid about something like that. I don't really care. But I think that Godzilla vs. Kong has a pretty damn good chance of making quite a lot of money, and I'm just very happy that this film is set up in a way that it's, it'll end perfectly if we don't get enough money, but set up in a way that we can still continue the franchise, which is something that I definitely hoped for. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been a while since I've done one of these theory videos. Leave your comments down below. I'm definitely going to respond to them, because I liked a lot of the comments in the previous video that I did. I had some good, interesting conversations about some other people's predictions. So if you have any predictions or thoughts that are different from mine, or you want to like elaborate on certain ideas that I have, or just talk about Godzilla in general, just like leave a comment below. I'll respond. I'll share. I'll follow. Whatever you want, man. Yeah, but until then, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'm back, baby.